Hey guys, I want to do a commentary video for the Fairy Hero deck that I decided to take to Crossing Collectibles. So Crossing Collectibles has a tournament every Thursday at 7 p.m. For Tengu, but I believe there's other places as well that are also doing Tengu. But for this tournament, it's going to be Crossing Collectibles that is doing it. I decided to take Fairy Heroes to this deck again to speak, and I'm going to be playing against Tengu Plant. So Tengu Plant is going to be the deck that is going to be the new deck in the format, or the rumored best deck in the format because it's named after the format. So I believe this is going to be a pretty good matchup for me because I have the ability to go into Christia. And then the Tengu Plant deck requires a lot of special summons. So if I can lock him out with Christia, that is going to be my game plan for the matchup. Let's see who goes first here. I forgot who wins the die roll. It looks like I go first for the die roll. So I draw for turn here. I contemplate what I want to do. I set a Sangan, and I think I set a warning for his Thunder King. He does have, I do have the warning for the Thunder King, but he does have the Reborn. No, he does not have Reborn. Okay, so I have the Sangan here set, but I don't flip the Sangan. Instead, I normal summon a monster, hoping that the set card is a Torrential. So I normal summon the Alias here, hoping it's a Torrential, so that I can get a 1-for-1. And I attack for 19 here. So he's going to take the 1900 damage here. He's going to draw for turn here. I think he draws into the Reborn, so he Reborns the Thunder King Ryo, and then he knows that I definitely feared the Thunder King Ryo enough to activate Solemn Warning, so he's going to attack the set. I think he suspects that it is a Sangan that I did set. So he's going to attack over my Sangan here. I'm going to lose out on the search, but at least I have a Dark Monster in the graveyard. He's going to set another monster and pass here. So here I have the option to Mind Control. I'm going to take his face down monster. The face down monster was a Marshmallow. And then I flip it, and then I think I normal summon a Herald of Orange Light here. So he allows the summon to go through. So here I could have synchro into Trishula. He doesn't know my deck list. So I think he's kind of prepared for me to go Trishula anyways, because he does have the Thunder King Ryo on the board to negate Trishula. So instead I'm going to just use the Herald of Orange Light with the Marshmallow. Now that I have a Dark and Light in the graveyard, I can go into anything. It doesn't really matter. And he's going to Solemn Warning the Catastrophe here. But thankfully, I do have the Alias, so I can just crash the Alias into the Thunder King, and I'm left with an open board. He draws into a Maxi. He summons the Tengu, the Reborn Tengu, and then he attacks directly. I drop the Tragodia. So in this scenario here, if I have a level 4 monster, I can discard a level 4 monster and then take the Tengu. I can take the Tengu and then Xyz into Utopia. Okay, so I draw for turn here. So hopefully I do have a level 4. Unfortunately for me, I try to steal the Tengu here, and it drops below the standard. So I only have 2 cards in my hand, so I won't be able to run over the Tengu if he Veilers me. But even though he does Veiler my Tragodia would lose all the attack anyways, so it doesn't really matter how much cards I have in my hand. Okay, so I think I set a back row and I pass here, and I just pass here. He still has the Tengu in hand, and he still has the Maxi. He's going to tribute for Kai's here. I warning the Kai's. One of the best things about Tengu is that you do have a warning. You have access to warning to be able to, shut out Kai's. Whereas in Edison, you can't deal with Kai's unless you main deck pulling the rug. There's also Veiler in this format, so this is really handy for me. So he's going to be special summoning a Tengu here, and then the Tengu here will be able to beat over the Tragodia. So he has three cards to my 2. I activate the Reinforcement of the Army, which is a good top deck for me, because then I can activate Stratos and come back in the game, putting me the 3 cards to his 3. And then if I run over this Tengu here, he'll only have 1 copy left in his deck. I do have a Veiler in my hand, so I won't be able to special summon the Bubble Man. So I just pass on Stratos. And then hopefully he won't be able to do anything with that Tengu the following turn. He does have a lot of good top decks. He can top deck into a Lone Fire and then go into a Gloat Bulb and then synchro into Teacher Hybrid Librarian, Android, or Catastor, and then run over my Stratos. So let's see what happens here. Most Tengu Plant decks do not play multiple Kaiases. I think they only play 1 Kaias from what I've seen so far in my experience from Format Library. But he might be on 2 Kaiases. He doesn't look like he draws into the Dandelion here. So and he has the Maxi in hand as well as a spell card. So he won't be able to do any synchro plays. So most likely he's going to be setting that Dandelion next to the Tengu, and then he's going to be setting a spell card into his back row. All right, so now turn passes back to me. So we're basically even on card advantage. I have the option here to summon a Bubble Man to Xyz into Utopia, but I don't think I want to go for that play. So I got summon the tour guide here. He forces out the Maxi here, and then I've already used the Sangan because it was destroyed by Thunder King Ryo this game. So I leave the tour guide in defense mode. I have the option here of Xyz into a monster, but I don't want to give him a +1 because I'm already behind on card advantage. So what I do here is I go into battle phase, attack over the Tengu with the Stratos, and then use the tour guide to attack the set. Most of the cards in Tengu plant is low defense, unless it's like a main deck Snowmater, but I don't think it's the case here. So I'm going to be attacking into the set. Raikou isn't as prevalent in this format as it is in Edison, so I didn't fear the attack with the tour guide. So I attacked over the set with the Dandelion. And then he gets the 2 tokens here. All right, so at this point in time, his Lone Fire, Glow Bulb, and Spore are really good top decks. All he has to do is be able to draw them. But unfortunately, I don't think he was able to draw it. He draws into a Mind Control, and he does have the enemy controller in hand. So he could use the enemy controller. I think what he does here is the enemy controllers, sacrifices his token, takes my tour guide, and then he's going to use Mind Control and take my other tour guide, and then XCs with those 2 materials. So that takes up all 3 of my monsters if he does decide to do that play. But he does have to sacrifice 2 spell cards in order to kill all my monsters. So yeah, this is a good for me, because then if he does that, then I only have to worry about yeah. So he has a token here. So if he Xyz in here, there's nothing banished, so he won't be able to leviate anything for a +1 value. So instead, he's going to go into Leviathan Dragon. I'm going to be able to. I'm going to Veiler the Leviathan Dragon here, because I do have the Chaos Sorcerer, I believe, to be able to run over the Leviathan Dragon. So then I special summon the Chaos Sorcerer here, I believe. No, I special summon, or I normal summon the Effect Veiler, special summon the Bowman, and then I go into Android. That is why I Veilered the Leviathan Dragon. Okay, so by doing this, I was able to run over. If I didn't Veiler, the Leviathan Dragon would be much too big for the attack. I've already used my Catastor in this game, so the Catastor was already warning in this game, so I only play 1 copy. So it was good on me to Veiler there. So then we go into this back and forth gameplay where I just basically attack his token, and then I just gain the 6 and pass. So I'm just getting my life point back from all the damage I've taken, because I'm only at 2,700 life points here. Android's really good in this scenario, because I did use warning, and I believe I took some damage, so the Android's going to help me recover here. I'm going to target the Thunder King Ryo because I fear his top deck BLS. So this way he forces the warning on the Monster Reborn here, and he does warning here, and he's going to go down to 4,500 life points, I believe. I forget, I can't even see. Then he sets another back row here, so it's looking good for me for me to deal with his back row. He does have enough. Actually, he's only at 1,500 life points, so I attack over his token, and then I just pass over the life points. He sets another back row here. I still attack his token, and I set, and he MSTs in the end phase, and he sets another card. So it looks like he's having some troubles, drawing into a Lone Fire Blossom. But Lone Fire, Glow Bulb, and Spore are all one of us. So any of those cards would have helped him get back in the game. So I run over all of his tokens so he won't be able to use them as synchro material, and then I'm going to return the Honest back to my hand. I made a consideration not to reveal my Honest in the event that he does top deck into a BLS and he wants to attack into my Android and attack for game. But instead I decided to get rid of his tokens because that's more of a priority. But he can still very much top deck into a BLS and then come back in the game here. So he summons the Debris Dragon here, and then he special summons the Dandelion. I didn't fear the Black Rose because he would lose more from Black Rose than I did, so he's going to be able to bring out the Black Rose here. Funny enough, he doesn't activate Book of Moon. He does have Book of Moon here, but he doesn't do it on main phase 1, so he can use the Black Rose effect to make the android 0 attack. But I believe, yeah, that would have been a better play, I guess, because then he would waste my Honest and the android. But that's fine, I guess. I top decked into a Miracle, so it's a really good top deck for me to come back in the game. I banish Stratos and a Light Monster. This way, this Shining has a total of 3,200 attack. I run over the Black Rose Dragon, so he goes down to 700 life points because the Shining has a lot of attacks. So I'm in a really good position here, so he's going to have to do a lot to get rid of the Shining here. The best play he can probably do is normal summon the Spore, Sanger to TG Hyper Librarian, and then banish for the Spore, and then make a level 5 Synchro. But then he'll be able to draw a card, but that's not going to get rid of the Shining. The Shining being a very big body is very difficult for Tengu Plant to run over. So let's see what he tries to do here in this scenario here. Looks like he draws into a tour guide here, so he can normal summon the tour guide, and then go into the Leviathan Dragon or Levier, then special summon my Stratos or Alias, depending on whatever he wants. I think he takes the Alias here. so because the Alias does have a higher defense, and then he's gonna wall off. This also makes my Shining a lot weaker by 300. So I definitely prioritize running over the Levier as well as the Alias. So the Levier won't be able to steal my Stratos, and then making my Shining weaker. Thankfully for me, I did top deck a Miracle Fusion, so I'm able to make 2 Shinings, and this way I can float twice. And then I summon the Honest here, attack over all of his boards, and then actually I leave him one token here. So yeah, he's pretty much on top deck mode, and I have the 2 best monsters in the game for this particular game, and he just scoops and goes to game 2. All right. So game 2 starts. I believe what I side deck for this matchup is I side deck the Maxi. Maxi is a pretty standard hand trap in modern format because a lot of decks special summon, and I believe Tengu Plant is one of those decks that like to special summon. So I definitely side the Maxi. Since the Tengu is a card that is mandatory special summon, if I do have the biggest board, I can attack over all the Tengus, activate the Maxi on the attack declaration, or the battle step, whatever you want to call it, and then by doing that, I'll be able to attack over all his Tengus, and then be able to draw every time I beat over a Tengu. So that's kind of the idea here with the Maxi. Other utilities in Maxi is when they use 1-for-1, activate 1-for-1, discard a monster. That's another prime time to Maxi as well against the Tengu Plant. All right, game 2 starts. He's going to go first here, and let's see what he does. I think he does a T set, if I remember correctly. No, he summons a Thunder King, and he sets here. Thunder King isn't as good in this against my deck, just because I do play Recruiters, but he hasn't seen any of my Recruiters, so he doesn't know that I play Shining Angel in my deck. So he's going to be summoning the Reborn Tengu. He's going to run over my Nova Summoner, and Nova Summoner is going to get me this Shining Angel in defense position, because Nova Summoner is able to special summon defense position. And if he does want to load up my graveyard with fairies, he's going to be at risk of giving me a Christia. Because the Shining Angel is really useful into going to the Shining Angel, into the DD Warrior Lady, I can crash my Shining Angel into the Tengu multiple times until I have 4 fairies, and then end on the DD Warrior Lady and attack over the Thunder King Rail. So the only thing I have to worry about his set being a warning. So I take about 900 damage here because Tengu only takes out 300 life points in the battle damage. And then with the DD Warrior Lady that I got out of the Shining Angel, I can banish the Thunder King Rail. Okay, so I take another additional 400, putting me to 6,700 life points. And then phase 2, I'm going to special summon the Christia. He's going to warning my Christia here. So it was good on him to save the warning for that. But I guess there was some instances where he should have just warning the summon here. But I guess I didn't normal summon yet. So I'm going to be normal summoning the Bubble Man, activate Miracle Fusion, and then I'm going to be going to the Shining here. The Shining will be at 2,900, so he's going to have to find a way to deal with the Shining. And if he does deal with the Shining, I get the Bubble Man back. Doesn't look like he draws into a tuner, so he sets a monster here, putting the Reborn Tengu in attack position. So I'm going to attack over the Tengu here. I don't know why he leaves in an attack position. I would have personally put the Tengu in defense position because I think he accidentally reveals his set to me, and I think he knows that I saw it, but I didn't actually see it because I was too busy calculating life points. So he puts in an attack position. I have no choice but to attack over the Reborn Tengu, and I just pass without any back row. The deck doesn't play that many traps cards because I play Herald of Orange Light and Veiler. And then I'm going to normal summon the Stratos here. The Stratos is able to resolve its effect to search me an alias. And so if he does find a way to summon another Thunder King Ryo, I can at least run it over. But I do have the Shining on board anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to use the remaining of my attacks to run over all the Tengus. So this way he can't use Reborn Tengu very well. I did help him thin out his deck though, so if he does want to Synchro Summon, he's going to have to do it. Revealing his sets, he does have a set Sangan and a set Dandelion, so he can theoretically flip both of them and Xyz into a Levier, and then use Levier effects to detach a Dandelion, taking my DD Warrior Lady to banish one of my monsters on the board here. But he does not do this. He doesn't do that play. Maybe he doesn't play Levier, so maybe he doesn't have enough space, but I'm pretty sure they play Levier in this deck. So I attack over the Sangan here, and he searches for, I believe, a tour guide. Oh, no, he searches for a Poet Plant. Yeah, so one of the cool things about this deck is that because your Sangan is tutorable using tour guide, it allows you to access your Puppet Plant from the side deck, and from your main deck, but mostly from your side deck, and being able to utilize it for matchups. I contemplate not X-seizing here, but I do it anyways because if he does steal one of my monsters, I could just negate the attack with Utopia. And if he steals a Utopia, Utopia is smaller than the Shining, so it doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, he's gonna have to do a play here. He normal summons the Debris Dragon. I activate Maxi, which is a perfect timing because Debris Dragon is a card that starts a chain to special summon, and then he's gonna Synchro Summon the Scrap Dragon, and that gives me a +2 because the tokens come out mandatorily. He's gonna be using the Scrap Dragon to pop my Utopia, so he can attack directly, and then now he can just attack. Well, he can't attack over my Shining, so because the Shining is stronger, so he has to do this play where he puppet plants my Shining. Me being at 6,700 life points will not kill me because if he does puppet plant my Shining, that his stat will drop below to 2,600 because he is now the control of the monster. Lucky for me, I do have Gores in my hand, so I will not be taking all the damage. I will just be taking the first damage and then special summon the Gores in defense position. Since he doesn't have a way to clear my Shining, the Shining, except for with Dark Hole, he's gonna have to force to give back the Shining back to my hand. And even if he does Dark Hole, that will put him at a disadvantage if he does that. So I draw for turn here, and I believe I use my own Mind Control to take the Scrap Dragon. And Mind Control is really good in this format because of this reason. I use Scrap Dragon to target itself to target the set card because I don't know what it is, because even though he did show me accidentally. And then what I do is I activate Monster Reborn, I believe. Yeah. I activate Monster Reborn here to special summon the Stratos. Use Stratos' first effect to destroy the back row because I still don't know what that card is. He's going to be chaining the Maxi here, and then I blow up his back row, which was a Starlit Road. Yep. And then now I do have lethal on the board. He does have the token on board with 0 defense, so I attack with Stratos, and then I attack with Shining and the token, and that's going to be a total of 5,200 damage for game. Yeah, so that was gameplay video for the Fairy Heroes. So this deck is very much capable of taking out Tengu plans, which is the deck that is most feared in this format because it is named after the format is named after this deck. But it is still a very much beatable deck. It's a very safe choice according to TCG Rewind, and I would encourage you guys to explore this format as it is a very cool format because you're able to have access to Valor. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to do one more commentary video for a different matchup, and that'll be all. All right, see you guys in the next one. Peace. This is going to be another commentary video for Tengu Plant. So the player on the left starts the turn, and he's going to be setting a back row with no monsters. So I don't know what he's on, so I pretty much go into this matchup blind. Pretty much, I think I summon the Stratos here to... Oh no, I activate Future Fusion first. So he's going to be activating the Solemn Warning to the Future Fusion, which is good for me. This way I can normal summon the Stratos, search for the Alias, and then be able to pop off. So then I generate a +1 off the Stratos, and if he does take the damage here for 18, he's going to be able to drop his Tragodia, which he does. Yeah. So he drops Tragodia. So I'm pretty much in danger of him dropping a level 4 monsters to Xyz into Utopia. Let's see what he does here. He does have the option of flipping the Tragodia to attack position to attack over the Stratos. My set, though, kind of like... gives him an air of caution to not be able to attack because it kind of tells me that he doesn't have any monsters else in his hand if he chooses to do nothing here. So he chooses to do nothing here. I do have the Valor in the event that he did have the level 4 monster to steal my Stratos. So I find it's pretty difficult to run over a Tragodian defense position because Utopia does only have a 2,500 attack and Tragodia is at 3,000 defense. So I try to figure out a way to clear it. And what I do instead is I go into Bubble Man and Xyz into Utopia and pass turn. So he has 3,600 attack and defense. So let's see what he does decide to do with Tragodia here. He does draw an extra card here, and he can literally just keep the Tragodia in defense position if he really wants to. So let's find out what he does here. Here he decides to set 2 more back row, which is kind of weird because now he drops to 2,400 defense. I guess he really wants to resolve Dust Shoot on against me. Maybe he feared that my set card was a MST, and it looks like he's going to be choosing the Alias. So the Alias will be coming back to my my deck. So if I find a way to resolve Stratos again, I at least have a target. So he's kind of doing me a favor here. I activate Heavy Storm here to destroy his back row, and I lose out on my warning. This is actually a pretty bad play for me because I actually go -1 just so that I can run over Tragodia safely. And yeah, so I attack over the Tragodia. He does have a Dark Monster in the graveyard now. And then I set the Call of the Haunted with no monsters in graveyard. So there's probably no need for me to set the Call of the Haunted. The only reason I would set Call of the Haunted here is because if he finds a way to get rid of my Utopia, I can flip the Call of the Haunted, special summon the Stratos, and then search for the Alias that he put back to my deck with Trap Dust Shoot. Okay, so he's going to activate the Dimensional Alchemist here. and then he's gonna banish an effect veiler. So in the event that Dialk does go to the graveyard, he'll be able to recycle his effect veiler. And if Dialk also goes to the graveyard, he'll be able to get a dark and a light in the graveyard. So then he'll be able to special summon Chaos Sorcerer. He gets the value off the dark hole here, but my straddle was a +1, so it didn't really matter to me. So yeah, it's gonna be a 1-for-1. Looks like he special summons the Chaos Sorcerer. Chaos Sorcerer is at 3 in this format, so he special summons the Chaos Sorcerer so he can at least attack. And I do have the Call of Haunted, so if he does declare an attack, I believe that if I flip the Call of Haunted on the attack declaration, then he won't be able to banish on main phase 2. I instead choose to take the damage here so that I can special summon the Tragodia here, so that I can overlay into another Utopia and run over the Chaos Sorcerer. Oh, it looks like I do have Christia in my hand, so what I do is I special summon the Stratos here and switch the target back. And then I search for the alias here, and then he activates the Veiler. Okay, so here I can just tribute some for Christia, and then this way I was able to force the Veiler here, and then I was able to attack over the Sorcerer. Okay, so now he's pretty a bad spot now. So because he's playing the Chaos deck, he's gonna have to find a way to and since he's already used Dark Hole, I'm pretty much safe to anything that he tries to do here. I don't think he plays a lot of back row in this deck, so he's going to rely on cards that can pop the Christia. I summon the Nova Summoner, so this way I force out any sort of, pretty much go for damage. He's going to be Reikoing away my Christia. So if he finds a way to run over the Nova Summoner, then it's pretty bad for me because then I shuffle my deck afterwards. And I won't be able to special summon the Christia again. So let's see if he finds a way to deal with the Christia or with the Nova Summoner. He does not. So this way I'm allowed to crash all my Nova Summoners and my Shining Angel to go into Christia. I go to battle phase, attack over his monster. Looks like it's another Veiler, so it looks like this deck plays a lot of Veilers. Or unless that's the same one he recycled. No, he has 2 in the graveyard. So this deck is pretty much heavy on the hand traps, but very low on the low to the ground attacks. My deck has a lot of low to the ground attacks, so it allows me to at least put some sort of board pressure as opposed to just waiting around with the hand traps in my hand. So he knows that I had the Christie in hand because it went to the top of the deck. So he has to find a way to put up pressure on, but without destroying the Nova Summoner. And that's going to be pretty challenging for him because he's going to need a Dark Monster or a Chaos Sorcerer or BLS to deal with this. So what he does here is he special summons the Cyber Dragon, and I believe he tries to go for the Kai's play, but he doesn't know that I have a Veiler in my hand. So he commits to this play where he tries to get rid of my Recruiter. I think what he looks through his extra deck because what he does is he has a level 3 tuner monster, which is Gen X Neutron, or no, it's Gen X Ally Birdman. So what he was trying to do is synchro summon both of them into Scrap Dragon, and then use the Scrap Dragon to pop itself into and pop itself in Nova Summoner. But what he does instead, he keeps the Kai's play. This way he only loses 1 card, whereas I would only whereas the Scrap Dragon play he would lose 2 cards. So yeah, he does his play instead, which is pretty smart on his side. But unfortunately for him, that means that I can just crash all my Nova Summoners and special summon the Christia. But what I do instead is I just normal summon normal summon Alias. No, I Rhoda, yeah. So I normal summon the Alias here. I attack Alias into the Caius, drop the Honest, and this drops his life point down to 400. So he won't be able to do much from there. And then attack him directly for game. Yep, and that's the game for game 1. So yeah. Yeah. So as you can see, Caius loses a lot of power in Tengu plant format. Being able to use Effect Veiler, very, very well-timed Effect Veiler, allows your recruiters to pretty much survive. And I really like that aspect about Tengu. It makes it so that recruiter decks actually have some chance in this format. Whereas Edison, where it's becoming more solved, Edison's becoming more and more solved where nobody attacks into set monsters anymore. So you have to do these weird plays where you Caius back rows or you Caius set monsters, so it never resolves anymore. But in this format, you got Veiler, so I really like that about that. So first turn he goes again. We don't side deck because he doesn't have a complete side deck. So what he does is we just agreed to not side deck for game 2. So he summons the Thunder King Ryo and he just passes here. I summon the Alias, which is why I play it, to crash into the Thunder King here. Okay, I pass here without doing anything to try to bluff out a Gores or a Tragodia. I'm not sure if I actually have it or not, but it's always good like practice to do something like that. He summons the Sangan here, attacks me directly, and I do have the Thunder King Ryo in hand to attack over the Sangan to prevent him from searching. And that's what that's just, so he Valors here. So if he Valors my Thunder King Ryo and I let him have another turn, he he can potentially Synchro Summon or Tribute Summon for Caius. So I instead just attack over the Sangan anyways. Even if he does Valor my search, my anti-search ability, attacking over the Sangan is always correct here, even if he gets the search. Okay, so he takes the 900 here because the Thunder King Ryo provides another form of advantage because if he does normal summon a tour guide, I can negate anything that he exceeds into. He does play the Cyber Dragon, so the Thunder King was actually able to trade with a Valor and a Cyber Dragon, and that's a good trade for me. It's a 2-for-1 trade for me. So he searches for the Honest here. So in the event that I don't negate the attack, if I don't negate the summon with Cyber Dragon, he can just attack and use Honest, but he doesn't need to do that. So I negate the summon with Cyber Dragon, and he has a Darkened Graveyard, so he can go into Chaos Sorcerer here to push, but this 2-for-1 was really good for me. On the next turn, I'll be able to use Miracle Fusion to go into the Shining, and the Shining is really good because the Shining can at least have a 2900 attack boost, 2900 attack. So I Nova Summon the Nova Summoner first, and he activates the warning to clear the Nova Summoner, putting my basically making my Miracle Fusion live. So good on me to do the order that way. So as you can tell, he's kind of had enough of the Recruiter, enough to where he wants to activate Solemn Warning. So my Miracle Fusion here is able to bring out the 2 monsters here, and then I was able to attack over his Honest, which is surprising that he said it. Maybe he wants a Tribute Fodder or a Synchro Fodder with the Tuner, so that's why he set the Shining Angel. So he spell summons the Sorker here, and then he tries to use his effect to banish, but he doesn't know that I'm on fairies here, so I could just use the Herald of Ward's Light and pop it. The only thing that I feared about this position is that he does have a Darkened Graveyard again, so if he does have BLS, he's going to be able to banish the Shining, but I'm going to have to force to use the Herald anyways, no matter what. So he sets a monster here, and I draw for turn. I activate Future Fusion here, and lucky for me, I do have 3 fairies, so that means if I were revealed the Shining, I could put the 4th fairy in the graveyard, as well as another hero. I send the Bubble Man here, and then now with 4 fairies, I can spell summon the Christia, which I do decide to do, and then I add back the Honest here. I do believe I have a Herald of Orange Light here, so if I do attack over a Raikou, which I saw in game 1, I want to be able to attack with Christia first. I don't believe I Herald the Raikou, even if it is, but maybe I do. I don't know. So he's in a really bad position. He's staring down a Shining with 2900 attack and a Christia. So with only 2200 life points, pretty much no fear. I go straight into battle and I attack and I win the game. Yeah, so the Fairy Hero deck is very good. I would say it has the ability to lock out Special Summon, which is a very key aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh in general. Being able to lock out your opponent from doing their power plays is the idea of the deck, and this deck does it pretty well because you're able to use the Recruiters to go into all your Fairy lines. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video for the commentary video for Fairy Heroes. I've experimented with this deck just to see how well it does. It overperformed my expectations. I thought it was actually just gonna get pretty much dunked on the whole tournament, but I actually did pretty well. I did wanted to record another matchup, but the guy said he didn't want to be recorded. But I did lose against that guy. He was playing Agents, but we got to game 3, so it was a close one. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the commentary video. I'll be doing more Tengu Plant format in the future as we are having a PS5 tournament in the future for Tengu Plant. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you guys will enjoy more Tengu Plant coming from this channel in the future. All right, peace out.